Morning. I'm standing outside of St Francis Church, or the Frannies if you're local, and that's got to mean only one thing. Well, actually it could mean a couple of things, couldn't it? But on this occasion it means that we've got another Whinney Banks Shops video. Well, not quite Whinney Banks Shops, it's going to be Whinney Banks Shops crossing to Acklam Shops, or Connistion Shops as we called them when we were a kid. If you've been following my videos on Whinney Banks Shops, you'll know that I always stop at Sainsbury's, or start at Sainsbury's. So the next logical progression would be what locals know as London's, the dentists. However, the current owners have been a little bit naughty lately and have left the majority of Acklam and Whinney Banks without an NHS dentist, which I don't appreciate at all, so they're getting no airtime from me. So with that in mind, we're going to take a bit of a trip along the road and start a little bit further along. So while I do that, I'll leave you with this. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm very much a child of the 80s. Now, as I already mentioned, we're going to take a look at Whinney Banks stroke Acklam Shops this morning, and we're starting just along the road at this place, which is now Cleveland Carpet Services. Now, when I was a kid, that was Victoria Wine, or Vicky Wine, and I believe it wasn't so long ago that a ghost sign was uncovered when they were getting some work done on the front of the shop, probably a re-sign I would have thought. Now, as per previous videos, I haven't done a lot of research into this. I'm very much going to do it by what I remember. I have gone online to check a few things just to make sure my memory wasn't playing tricks on me. And I need to mention that on this occasion, I didn't really become aware of these shops until about 89, and that's because a friend of mine I was in junior school with, his mum went to church, and her friend had a son that was coming into Acklam Grange school where we were going. He didn't really know anybody, so we were asked if we would walk to school with him and just sort of help him and befriend him a little bit in the school, which we did. And he lived just down Green Lane, I lived Acklam Whinney Banks End, so we used to walk up Croft Avenue, meet him at this cross junction here, which of course is Green Lane, Croft Avenue, Acklam Road, and we'd walk in. And it was only years later that I realised how silly that was, because the amount of distance it took me to actually get there, walking this way, than it would have if I just walked along Haythrop, was ridiculous, but we did it nevertheless. So that was when I kind of made myself aware of this set of shops. It was always Whinney Banks Shops that I was dealing with, or that I dealt with and went shopping. So my memory is about from 89, I was about 11, something like that. And we continued to visit those shops even in later years, because I was a bit of a boy racer back in the day, and we used to use those as a bit of a meeting place. So let's see how well my memory serves me. It usually does okay. I've came out nice and early in a hope to dodge the traffic, but it doesn't seem to be working. There's still quite a lot here. So this site here I remember as Jack Hatfield's Club. I'm sure you guys do as well. I believe the land was sold in 2002 and the flats were built, and then the replacement club, which is just a little bit further down the road, was built in 2007. One thing I do remember though is just up here on the corner where you see that fence, there used to be a bowling green, corner of Buttermere Avenue. This is where the bowling green used to be. It might still be there. But I used to jump over the fence, or at least not jump over the fence. I used to stand at the fence when my granddad lifted me up watching the bowling. And I don't know why he would have come this way. Maybe he'd come to Jack Hatfield Club. Yeah, the bowling green's still there, isn't it? Acklam Library. Now Acklam Community Hub. Pretty much unchanged. Maybe a little bit of landscaping. A couple of car park spaces added. That's probably about it. And again, I think I did go to the library, you know, when I was a kid, but not very often, because there was one in Whinney Banks as well, wasn't there? So I've got a feeling I used that one instead. Next up is Colin McGinley Funeral Services. As far as I'm aware, it's always been a funeral service. I don't really remember it being anything else. I would have sworn it was a co-op though. Maybe that's just what people called it. And I'm sure along here somewhere there was like a tanning shop and maybe a florist's. Again, a handful of times I'd come down here. The only time I'd come down here was really when I was sort of like walking along here, looking at the vehicles at Acklam Cars. If we were walking through, I'd come and have a nosy. And that's now a dog grooming salon. Not sure what it used to be. But yeah, a long time ago when Acklam Cars was here, when we were a bit younger, it didn't always used to be these prestige, amazing dream cars. It used to sell just everyday sort of family saloons, £7,000. I remember looking at a couple of cars there over the years that even then I couldn't afford. But I definitely can't afford the ones I've got now. These YouTube videos don't pay me, you know. I think it used to be a Dutton Forshaw selling like Austin and stuff. But I had a quick look online, I couldn't find anything to say that. But I'm pretty certain years ago I remember seeing a picture, and it was a picture of Dutton Forshaw garage and the SO garage, which when I first started driving, which was 96 I think it was, that was a total. Next up we have the Tipsy Cow, which was a Subway, and then it was a Hairdressers, which I believe was Empathy, which moved where Look Ahead is later on. Before that it was a Subway, and before that it was a DIY shop. Certainly when I used to go to school it was a DIY shop. Robert Carlton Finance has always been some sort of finance shop, and Look Ahead next door has always been Look Ahead, or Look a Mullet as we called it when we were kids. And that's now got Empathy in it, which I believe merged, I think about 2015 when I had a look online. Ralph the Funeral Directors used to be a Barclays Bank, and next door to that was one of my favourite shops right up until the end, which was Blockbuster, which closed in 2015. As you know, Blockbuster no longer exists. Astute Finances has always been some sort of financial advice type place, but it was Acklam Tandoori until about 2008 when we had that really nasty fire, if you remember that. It damaged quite a lot of buildings. I don't know if that was ever brought to a conclusion. I'm not going to do any digging to find out. Let's just say there was a fire in 2008. Beat Treats on the corner, that used to be Coupland's, and it was a Peter's before that, which I believe closed in 2012. Cut and Craft the Barbers, that was a Your Move until 2021, and before that it was a Halifax. Smith's the Butchers next door. It's always been a butcher's, but it was more recognisable as Newbolds. David Fox in standard form, well that's always been David Fox. And the Sunbed Shop, now I've got that down as Finlay's. I think it used to be Finlay's, I'm not 100%, but there was definitely some sort of news agents along there. Pizza Pan, well that was always Pizza Pan. SMS Tech, that was a convenience store, and I think it was a cafe. And I think for some reason it's in my head that it was a flower shop. There was definitely a flower shop along there, and it wasn't next door to the fish bar, because that's always been a fish bar. As has New Regent, it's always been a Chinese of some description, probably always the same one. The Go Local, I think that was like a bargain booze, or a booze for us, or something like that. And Bubblegum next door was some sort of like supermarket, like a international like food store type thing. I think it was anyway. Mind, that was a pharmacy. And the spa unit there, the smaller spa unit, not the big one, the small one was an off license. I think it was like a Threshers or something like that. Spa next door, I've always remembered that as a spa, as I have Morgan's. Morgan's and Bakery's always been there. And Halo, there's always been a hairdresser, some description. I did have a look into this, and it was called Norma Ann before. Mr. Cleaners, just as much of a staple as David Fox's, that's always been a Cleaners. And the Hairdressers next door, which is the house, Acklam Road 283. I'm sure that was a doctor's. That was a doctor's when I was a kid. It wasn't my doctor's, but I just remember it was. I remember going there with someone, I can't think who it was. And this is the way that we used to go to Acklam Grange School, and you still can go this way. We used to walk off down there. So yeah, this here was a big Texaco garage, and we used to go in here on the way home. I'd always have £1 in my pocket, and we used to go in here on the way home, and they had like penny mix-up sweets where you could get sweets and stuff, and I always bought, you know, those coconut rings you get with licorice all sorts. I always used to buy just a bag full of those and eat them before I got home, because my dad loved them as well and he'd pinch them if I didn't. And yeah, this coral here, I had this down as a Finlay's, but it was definitely a newsage of some description. I just don't know which one it was. Hair Academy always been some sort of hairdressers, and of course the Coronation's changed its appearance a couple of times. It's still the Coronation. Independent dental practice, always been a dentist of some description, possibly different names over the years. Lovely building though, isn't it? It's been really difficult to film these shops. You wouldn't believe the difference between the traffic at this end of Acklam Road compared to Whinney Banks. Whinney Banks is pretty quiet. This has been really busy. Now it's 9:30 in the morning, so I don't know where everyone's going, but they're obviously going somewhere. I do quite a lot of stop and starting, so they'll probably come out in the edit, so apologies for that. I've done the best I could. So there we go, guys. That was my quick take on Acklam stroke the start of Whinnney Banks Shops. It would set a few memories for you, and if I remembered anything incorrectly, then let me know, or if I missed something out, then let me know. You'll note that I didn't put in or mention the buildings that are on the first floor. I'll be honest, it's because we didn't really pay that much attention to them. It's just a doorway, and sadly I think that tends to be the case when you've got units in the first floor. It's difficult to get yourself noticed, and yeah, we didn't, but I'm sure there's some really good businesses up there. As always, thanks for watching, take care, I'll see you in the next one, bye for now.